Ukrainian Marines defeated Russian assault troops in Vovchansk. 2 commanders of assault companies and 4 soldiers surrendered during a counterattack by soldiers of the 36th Marine Brigade. 2 Russian assault companies were almost completely destroyed. Both company commanders surrendered wounded along with the remnants of their soldiers.
Штурмовые войска, командир роты, как? Спокойно. Давай, дальше. Давай. То же самое, командир. Штурмовики, стрелки. Давай. Штурмовик, стрелок. Отлично. Штурмовик, стрелок. Штурмовик, стрелок. Вот.
Welcome to Ukraine, Russian Mutan Ninja Turtles. Defense intelligence of Ukraine's special forces destroyed a Russian tugboat. On June 6, 2024, a special unit of the 9th Department of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine conducted a successful strike on a Russian raid tugboat of the Project 498 Saturn, or Proti, off the coast of the temporarily occupied Crimea. As a result of the operation in the waters of Pantsir Lake, another vessel of the Russian invaders was destroyed. We're not authorizing strikes 200 miles into Russia. We're not authorizing strikes on Moscow, on the Kremlin, President Biden. He said Putin is not a decent man. He's a dictator.
You resisted the idea of American weapons being used for any sort of direct strike inside Russia. But we did witness this shift in recent days, authorizing American weapons for limited direct strikes. Are American weapons being used right now inside Russia?
They're authorized to be used in proximity to the border when they're being used on the other side of the border to attack specific targets in Ukraine. We're not authorizing strikes 200 miles into Russia. We're not authorizing strikes on Moscow, on the Kremlin.
Let me ask you about what Vladimir Putin said last night about this authorization of American weapons inside Russia. He said the supply of high-precision weapons to Ukraine for strikes on Russian territory is direct participation in this war. He went on to say that this is the way to serious problems, and again talked about Russia's nuclear capabilities. Does that concern you?
I've known him for over 40 years. He's concerned me for 40 years. He's not a decent man, he's a dictator, and he's struggling to make sure he holds this country together while still keeping this assault going.
The biggest risk is if President Putin wins, because the message is that when he violates the international law, when he invades another country, then he gets what he wants. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg. Exactly. The question is, what is NATO going to do about it?
I think the biggest risk is if President Putin wins, because then the message is that when he violates international law, when he invades another country, then he gets what he wants. And that will actually reduce the threshold for using force again. So knowing that there's no risk-free option, I think the biggest risk is if he wins, therefore we need to prevent that from happening.
Are you dumb as this table? Putin dismissed Russia's ambitions to attack NATO as nonsense. Yes, that's the language he used with international journalists. We don't need to remind you that prior to the full-scale invasion, Russia dismissed attacking Ukraine as nonsense.
Образ врага из России. Вы сами себе только вредите этим, понимаете? Вот напридумывали, что Россия хочет напасть на НАТО. Вы сбрендили совсем, что ли? тупые вообще, как этот стол. Кто это придумал? Это чушь, понимаете? Бред собачий.
Putin. Russia has the right to supply weapons to countries from which strikes can be performed on countries supplying weapons to Kyiv. Russia wants to create chaos and tension all over the world. This is a global danger. It will escalate while Russia is strong enough to do so.
Мы думаем на тему о том, что если кто-то считает возможным поставлять такое оружие в зону боевых действий для нанесения ударов по нашей территории и создания проблем для нас, то почему у нас нет права поставлять наше оружие такого же класса в те регионы мира, где будут наноситься удары по чувствительным объектам тех стран, которые делают это в отношении России? То есть
France has detained a Russian terrorist who planned to blow up a cargo with military aid to Ukraine amid the arrival of President Zelensky in the country. The French PNAT Anti-Terrorism Prosecutor's Office detained a Russian agent who intended to blow up military equipment intended for delivery to Ukraine. This was reported by Le Journal du Dimanche Media. The name of the detainee has not been given. According to Le Figaro, he is a 26-year-old man who was born in Donbass, held a pro-Russian position, and fought for the Russian army for 2 years. During the search in his room, materials for making explosive devices, small arms, several passports and cell phones were found. The suspect was detained immediately after he accidentally detonated acetone peroxide in a hotel room while attempting to build an improvised explosive device. He was taken to hospital with burns and arrested on June 5th on charges of participation in a terrorist criminal association and possession of explosives. Successful soft landing of the Starship Super Heavy rocket booster. Super Heavy has splashed down in the Gulf of Mexico.
That landing bar just begun, and you can see the water below. And we have splashdown. What an incredible sight! Congratulations to the SpaceX team!
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.